Hello and welcome to Apple Autos. My name is Austin and today I'm going to be showing you around the 2024 Dodge Hornet. The Hornet is entirely new to Dodge. It is a whole new vehicle, whole new segment that Dodge hasn't had for quite some time. The Hornet is based on the Alfa Romeo Tonale and it is pretty much a carbon copy of that vehicle. The exterior, the interior, and pretty much everything about it is an Alfa Romeo Tonale, and that's not a bad thing because it is an amazing vehicle and it looks quite good on the inside and outside. And on the market, this is pretty much one of the only high-performance segmented SUVs in this size range. So let's go ahead and check it out. Up front, the Dodge Hornet gets a lot of very aggressive styling, starting off with these very aggressive horseshoe daytime runners, which I am a big fan of. And all of the vents that are up front that you see right in the center here are functional vents. We do have some fake vents on the sides here. However, everything in the front top here and down below is a functional vent. We also have functional heat extractors on the top of the hood. So it's pretty cool that we do have a lot of function with the look on the front of this Hornet. Of course, there's a few fake things here and there, but they are truly going after performance with the front end of this Hornet. And I have to admit, it does look quite good. It has a very aggressive look to it. And I love how we just have the new Dodge logo, the two stripes sitting in the middle. It looks really mean. The overall body design from here to here, from the front of the door back, actually reminds me a lot of a Ford Escape. Very similar body design, kind of the shape that it has going on. However, from the door forward, I absolutely love the look of the Hornet. It has a really aggressive looking front end, the way it kind of slants down, kind of comes to a point there at that Dodge logo at the very front. I will admit, in my opinion, I think the wheels look a little bit small on this model. This is the highest trim that is currently available. I think the GLH is coming soon, but this is the RT blacktop that we are looking at today. But I do think the wheels look a little bit small. We do have large Brembo calipers up front, which do look quite good, and the new Hornet logo, which I'm also a big fan of. This black paint on the Hornet does make it look very aggressive with these wheels, however, and I actually quite like the design. It wasn't a bad thing stating that it looks like a Ford Escape, but it is quite similar. And you can also see just a height comparison. I'm 5'11". This is kind of a lower SUV. Since it is a little bit of a lower SUV, you may be wondering, what is it like in back sitting in here? So I'm gonna go ahead and hop in and let's find out. Sitting in the back of the Dodge Hornet, the first thing I noticed when I opened the door is this kind of interesting design on the door itself. As you can see, the window kind of sticks past the door. Typically, you don't see that design on the door. Just something I noticed, a little bit interesting, a little bit different. The rear seats here are quite hard in the back of the Hornet. However, they're very comfortable. I have a lot of space. I have this nice armrest that I can lay down, and when I shut the door, I am very comfortable with my arm sitting position on both sides. Could easily sit in here for a long period of time. I do think you could only fit 2 adults comfortably for a long period of time, 3 adults for a very short period of time. Overall headroom, I am very close, being 5'11". If I were 6 foot tall, my head would be hitting the ceiling right now with my head back. My hair is touching, being 5'11", so it's not the most spacious when we talk about headroom, but just sitting naturally, kind of slouched a little bit. Terrible posture like I personally do have. I am comfortable in the back of the Dodge Hornet. Let's continue to move our way around the outside. As we move around back of the Dodge Hornet, this is my favorite spot on the entire car. And the reason for that, there's actually 2 of them. One of them is the taillights. The taillights look phenomenal. They look super, super cool. They actually remind me a lot of that EV concept that Dodge has out right now, which is the replacement for the Charger Challenger. Those like 3-dimensional taillights, these remind me a lot of them. And with the Dodge logo lit up in the center, it's really, really cool looking. I'm a big fan of the way the taillights look. They have a lot of cool dimension to them, and yeah, it's by far my favorite looking part of this car. I'm a big fan of those. My second favorite part is down below, and that would be the exhaust tips, which remind me a lot of the Alfa Romeo Stelvio when that came out. Very similar looking rear bumper, and the exhaust tips are pretty much identical to the Stelvio back when it came out. And if I also sit here and listen to it at idle, it's got a pretty good note to it. Let's take a listen. Before we get too far into the video on the Hornet today, I need to mention that this vehicle is currently for sale at Apple Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram here in Shakopee, Minnesota. So if you guys are interested in purchasing a new Dodge Hornet, be sure to check out the link down in the description below. Now, let's get into the review. Moving on to the other side of the Hornet, we got the window sticker on this side, so let's go ahead and go through it. The base price, since this is the RT plus blacktop all-wheel drive, the base price is $46,400. This one has the blacktop package, which brings the MSRP to $49,590, which is quite a bit of money for a vehicle in this segment. So is it worth it? Let's hop onto the interior to find out. Moving up front of the Dodge Hornet, I keep wanting to say Alfa Romeo Tonale because, I mean, I kid you not, this thing is identical in more ways than you could possibly imagine to one of them. As we move in here, I have to admit, it feels a lot nicer than most SUVs in this segment. It is a very comfortable sitting position. The seats are fantastic. The tech in here is phenomenal. The greatest paddle shifters in the game. Alfa Romeo is always nailing those and making the very satisfying clicky feel. I do really enjoy them. I have noticed when I briefly drove it around how awkward it is hitting the turn signal stock because the massive paddle shifter is literally sticking out further than the turn signal stock. So you gotta like put your hand behind it, behind the paddle shifter to like flip up and down the turn signal. So that part's kind of annoying. Other than that, in here, it's honestly a pretty nice place to be. There is a lot of plastics being used, kind of a hard plastic dashboard, but the overall look and feel is pretty dang solid. It feels pretty great in here. It looks pretty great. We got the wireless charger sitting front and center. But overall, it just feels like an Alfa Romeo. It really does. It's a nice place to be, and there's nothing negative about that. It's just a Dodge Alfa Romeo. And is it worth $49,000? Let's go drive it. I went ahead and took it out of sport mode here on the Hornet to see what it was like just driving around. They definitely turned down the piping of the exhaust in the interior through the speakers. That is turned down dramatically, and it becomes a very comfortable vehicle to drive. I'm very impressed with this car's suspension, actually, both around corners and just comfort-wise. It is something I was not expecting. I am most surprised by the suspension in this car. It handles very well. It takes bumps phenomenally. Its ride is great. Out of all the vehicles in this class, best ride and best handling that I have ever experienced. I'm truly impressed. Overall, after driving the Dodge Hornet, I am much more impressed with this vehicle than I was before driving it. It's actually super enjoyable to drive. It's a lot of fun, especially in the corners and handling. This car's handling is phenomenal for being the class of SUV that it is. It is so much fun behind the wheel. I am truly impressed, which makes me believe that this Hornet is indeed worth the money. They are a lot of fun to drive, and I am pleasantly surprised with them. There are some cheaper materials throughout the interior, but overall, being an Alfa Romeo, it does have a lot of premium things in here as well, which do make it feel special, and it's definitely a pretty cool looking vehicle in my opinion as well. It does really follow the trend that Dodge has, in my opinion, of having very high horsepower or very high performance vehicles that still lack in the quality in some senses, which I think the majority of the population could agree with. They are very, very fast. They are very fun. This isn't the fastest vehicle in the world, I'm not gonna lie, but it's quick, it's peppy, but they put all of their time and effort into performance and making the vehicles fun than they do with the quality control and things like that, which is totally fine. I think it's entirely worth the fact that they put their R&D into that because this is a truly enjoyable car. Let me know what you guys think of the Dodge Hornet down in the comments below, because I have to admit, I like it a lot more than I thought I would. See you guys next time. Make sure to hit like and subscribe. Lots of videos coming in the future.